I think the next step for longevity is not whatever we're going to bring as molecules and everything. Of course, it's part of it, but it's making people understand their body so much that they feel it. The more you connect with nature, the more you're going to be aligned with your body, and the more you're going to get to that state of enlightenment that everyone is chasing.
We are part of an amazing shift that is led by amazing people like you who unify and also bring all these different resources to people.
You know, it's not getting older that makes you getting stiffer. It's because you get stiffer that you get older. It's the reverse.
Would you like to know how to lower your biological age? Learn the shortcuts, how to do it effectively. Would you like to know the mistakes that a lot of people make so you don't have to? And would you like to know how to make all of that accessible to everyone so you can share it with other people? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And I think it's very, very important because it's all part of healthcare. So we will talk about lifespanning. We'll also talk about biohacking. And while a lot of people confuse these two, this is actually not the same. And today we're going to talk about some differences. We will also talk about some strategies that you can use every day to feel better, feel younger, and actually be younger even though your chronological age doesn't suggest that you are younger. There are some tricks that you can use. I think it's really important because if you've been following our Doctors Networking group, Polish Your Life, if you've been following this podcast, you know that there is a specific problem we are trying to solve that a lot of people are dealing with. There are many people who are going on so many visits, and it's so frustrating. They go from doctor to doctor. They follow recommendations, and sometimes they still don't feel better. Pretty often, they still don't feel better. Now, what do? What we try to do is we bring them the best doctors that we can find, the best resources, certified products, facilities, shortcuts to success, because we believe that integrative healthcare, collaborations, this is the key to success. There is no doctor that knows all the answers. There's no doctor that is going to fix you with a magic pill. But what you will be able to do is through integrative healthcare, you'll be able to customize something, or with help of team members and people on your side and health coaches and the whole crew that we have here, we will be able to help move the health towards success and towards that outcome that you're looking for. And I believe this is really, really important. In that context, I'm very excited because when we're hunting for these amazing people, sometimes we find a gem. And we found a gem. And here's somebody who's here with me who is an inspiration for myself, who leads by example. You may know him as the owner of the Biohackers magazine. You may know him as the founder of Lifespanning Media, Lifespanning Corporation. You may know him as the author of Neuroscience Calisthenics. You may also know him from Instagram as this person who defies gravity and proves that what's seemingly impossible is actually possible. I don't know how you know him, but for me, what's the most important is his mission. His mission is to bring human longevity and make it mainstream reality and make it actually accessible to everyone. And I think it's such an important mission. It aligns with what we do. And I'm so proud to introduce to you Jean Fallacara. Jean, welcome to Polish Your Life.
Thank you so much for this beautiful intro. I was almost close to cry. It's awesome. Thanks for having me. It's such an honor for me to be here with you, Mike. Our friendship is beyond everything that is in the business sphere, and it's from day one. I still remember when you tapped on my shoulder and you asked me if I was Cyborggainz, and I was just like, yes, I am. Since then, you're my best buddy. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. And for me to be able to see somebody who I admire, and you almost sometimes when you see a person like yourself on Instagram, looking at I know this is a sport, but I see it as stunts. It's almost like impossible to comprehend how can a person who is not in his 20s is doing things that people in their 20s cannot do. And when I see that person in real life walking in, I'm like, first of all, is that him? And then, is that all real? Like, he's a normal person who you can have a quality conversation with. And also, there's a lot more than I even knew that is around your person. That's what I want to bring to our community, to the doctors in our network. Everybody should know about what you're doing, because teaming up with you and collaborating with you is a shortcut to a lot of people. Not only a shortcut to a lot of people, it's also an inspiration to show that what is seemingly impossible, like I mentioned, is actually possible. And I would
Yeah.
like people to tap into your energy. So today I'm mega excited to ask you a few questions and dig a little bit deeper, and also for the viewer or listener to have that experience of tapping into the potential that for a lot of people, it seems to be reserved to elites only. And when I hear you talking about let's make it accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
I love that. Tell me tell our viewers and myself as well, what is the fuel of your passion? Where is that all coming from?
Well, some people say it's grit or determination or resilience, but I believe that is only my passion for humanity. I think that our society is driven around simple concepts, and one is money. The second is health with healthcare. And like you said before, yes, shortcut, but I think that our system driven by money, driven by the people that are operating into the system itself, I've just misunderstood one simple principle: how humans are made and our extreme capacity of performances. I call that for performances, but it's performances compared to um, what it's the standard. But in reality, it's not reserved to elite athlete, or it's not reserved to um, super trained people. Everybody on this planet has the capacity of doing what I do in terms of movement and gymnastic and calisthenics. Everybody on this planet has the capacity to heal himself by using the proper element, supplement, food, lifestyle, and diet included. And this is accessible, but we just forgot because we are lazy. And why are we lazy? It's because we lack the education. We forgot what the past brought to our humanity as humans. We just forgot. We've been driven under the pressure of the economical revolution, the profit, and everything. And you know what? It's easy for me to say I'm part of the 0.07% of this planet, so I could preach for capitalism and everything, and I don't. I think that the dilemma I have in my life is I'm seeing many people improving their life because they're flooding money into their health. Instead of doing that, we should educate people to change their lifestyle so they don't have to spend that money, and they can probably use that money for better benefits, like educating their kids or helping school or whatsoever, or even universities. We need to change the system where how we train our doctors as well. We need to educate them to the future of medicine and the future of healthcare. So yeah, I'm driven by passion, and I think like this is the beauty of my life dream is you cannot stop passion.
You
It's
cannot.
impossible.
Mm-mm.
No, no, no,
And this is something that you feel when you're in real life with you feel when you're on a podcast with you,
no.
when you
Thank you.
talk to a person who is driven by passion. You cannot fake it, you cannot hide it. It's something that is in between words. There is energy, there is something that is unspoken. And I'm not only talking about, like people talk about gestures and the use of body language. That's all important, and I guess it's part of that psychological, subconscious communication. All of that
Hmm.
plays a role, no question about it. On top of what we visually see, there's also something that people feel. We had that at the biohacking conference as well. So much of that positive energy that is beyond what people are saying is just present there. And I think it's contagious. And when
Hmm.
people talk about standard of care, you mentioned something very important, that doctors can be, we could use some of the money to educate, to improve the healthcare system, to
Hmm.
improve the education for our kids and for doctors as well. And I'm actually very optimistic, because the doctors that we have in our group, the doctors that we are encountering, are more and more and more passionate and more open to integrating with other people and to learn about the supplementation for the healthcare system that is beyond standard of care. These things are making me very hopeful. I know that a ton
Of
of people love to
course.
complain. Why would we
No.
why would we complain when
Why?
we are part of an amazing shift that is led by amazing people like you, who unify and also bring all these different resources to people.
We should never complain. Here's a story. Uh, Many doctor would probably had experienced this story. You're in a hospital, and there's a kid coming to you, and he's stage 4 cancer, and he's going to die. And he comes and he goes like, oh, look at the blue sky, how beautiful it is. Look at this. Oh, that plant that brought that person to his daughter is awesome. That young girl there, she's sweet and pretty. And then you go in the street and you see people, I'm not feeling good because of this, and complaining and complaining and complaining. That young boy is 14 years old and he dies 2 weeks later. And he enjoyed every single moment of his life. We just forget that life is ending 1 second at a time, and you have to pay attention to that. And every morning when you wake up, you have to be happy because you are alive. That's
That's true.
it.
That's what you told me
Yeah.
before the interview. Oh,
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
camera. How are you? You're like, we're alive. There is a good reason to be happy, and it's so true. Also with health, a lot of times we appreciate it, and we have a saying in Polish language, that you appreciate the health only when you lose it. I would add to it. I
Mhm.
would complete it with, you appreciate when you also have somebody who is close to you lose it, and that just recalibrates the system. While it's sad and it's very difficult to process, it actually can be the fuel for happiness, because it helps us appreciate more, be grateful more. And what I would like to focus on today, if it's possible, is on practical tips, because a lot of people
Yeah.
talk about concepts, and I know that when we talk about certain things, a lot of people are going to look at you and me having access to different resources and being able to optimize our body one way or another, or even get advice and have somebody within a cell phone text message reach to ask about a problem, and they will be able to help us. But coming back to your mission, make it affordable and accessible to everyone, I would like to start with a definition, if you don't mind, and the difference between lifespanning and biohacking, because many people
Sure.
think it's the same. You
Yeah.
help me understand what it is, and then let's switch to some practical tips. What can people do every day without
Yeah.
spending a ton of money?
Here's a very, very basic concept. And this is the concept of lifespanning. So when people ask me, what is lifespanning? First, it's an invented word that is going to be in the dictionary next year. But I created that word because I was tired of hearing people, I don't want to be a biohacker, and I don't want to be a scientist purely like they are considered. And I go like, okay, what is our mission? Our mission is to extend lifespan with the best health span using biohacking. What is the word that could cover that? Lifespanning. Simple as that. It is lifespanning. And the big difference between that is like biohacker will use every technology, everything to the extreme. I'm finishing my second book on that. It's my personal story, how I came from a biohacker to a life spanner in 10 years. I was so driven by biohacking that the rest of my life became kind of secondary. It was, you wake up in the morning, you do this, that, then you have to practice this, use that modality, eat that type of food, and Brian Johnson kind of. And a few years later, you turn around and you go like, wow, okay, my biological age is great, 30% below my real age. But where are those years that I've just spent into improving my life? So life spanning is this. Take it easy, man, because whatever you do, at the end of the day, you're creating oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is creating inflammation. Inflammation is creating disease and decay, and is creating you to get older faster in a way or the other. So it's counterproductive to go to the extreme biohacking. And I did want to stay away from that with the concept of life spanning. Is like, if I wake up in the morning and I drink water with lemon and a bit of salt, and then I stretch and I look at the sunrise, the effect of that replace at least 3 hours of biohacking stuff. And it's a natural process. It's free. It's accessible. Okay, or lemon, it's 50 cents. Okay.
I'll tell you, this is so practical, and I love it because a lot of people struggle with work-life balance. You know, like the family life and then the work life. And I have one of the doctors who is in our group who uses a very different word, but it's a much more fitting word for this, and it's harmony. There should not be balance because
Beautiful.
they are not against each other. There could be something that is work related, but you do it with your family. There also could be something that is with the family, but also supports what you do at work. And I think the same harmony is needed in the world of biohacking, longevity, lifespanning, right?
Absolutely.
So in this, you have a lot of people who really struggle because on one hand, they get excited about the progress and they're like, okay, I started meditating, I sleep better, I have my aura ring, I have this, I have that, I have all these trackers, and now I'm in the community of all these people. So now what else can I do, right? And what else? And at some point, the balance, if you look at balance, it really shifts towards the extreme biohacking that you mentioned, and
Absolutely.
people get lost. So what would be some of the things? Let's say somebody is there, like literally they got excited with biohacking and now they got lost and like, I think I'm biohacking to the extreme. What would be
Extreme.
your advice? What would be your recommendation to find that harmony and actually have both
So,
happiness and biohacking?
yeah. So harmony is what we are trying to achieve in our body. Harmony of vibration, frequencies, and everything, and homeostasis. Okay, it's harmony. To find the harmony, and if you are an extreme biohacker and you went through the road of using tracker, biofeedback, and extreme biohacking and technology and everything, you need to stop to rely on those technology and use your brain that is plastic enough, because you're using brain tap, to actually analyze the data that you've been collecting. Not just like getting the data. Okay, you got a Oura ring and you didn't sleep well. What did you do to adjust the problem? You know that you didn't sleep well. Here's a study. There is a study that in, I think, 600 people, they came to them and they made they wear a fake Oura ring, and they were telling them, oh, tonight was a great night. People were super enthusiastic and had a great day. We're going to other, your sleep was awful. The whole day they were saying, and 99%, the whole day they were saying, I feel tired today. I didn't sleep well. It is all coming from our brain, our mindset. So one tip, you've been wearing all these things. Have you learned from them? Have you learned how your body is working? I'm talking about proprioception. when you feel your body to the point that you don't need any more of biofeedback tracer rings and everything. Here
I
I
think
am.
you
I have
mentioned this in
zero.
one of your podcasts that you don't have any trackers right now because you learned
I
how to
said,
read your
yeah,
body, right?
correct. I actually said that at the Live Long Summit. I was speaking with doctors and researchers, and they asked me what was the best tip to give people for what is next for longevity. And I think the next step for longevity is not whatever we're going to bring as molecules and everything. Of course, is part of it, but it's making people understand their body so much that they feel it. I do honestly, and I'm going to make some of our doctors here listening jumping out of the chair, but it's a true fact.
Guys, be careful. Don't jump because I have a
Yeah.
lot of them here.
I tell you, I feel my body to the point, not just for my planche and handstand and stuff like that. I feel my body to the point that I was missing iron in my bloodstream, and I felt it. I went for a blood draw. What was the analysis? You're missing iron. And I was just like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I felt it. I knew that my energy was just like different. My appetite was different and everything, like analyzing my whole body. I'm not going to go to the all extreme point that I can tell me why I'm missing iron, but I felt it. And I think that this is again the same principle as doing calisthenics and doing movement is we under evaluate the possibility of our body and our brains. We are like, explain me why a dog can smell better than a human, why some animal can hear sounds way better than others, some others have the feeling of vibration from the ground and things like that. The brain is coming from the same brain at the origin. Is the distinction and the evolution of the species that have made them differently operating after. Why don't we go back with neuroplasticity and rewire certain part of our brain that give us the capacity of feeling things differently? You talk about vibration and energy. If you are in my sphere, many people say that I want to be with you because you have this kind of aura shining and things like that. It's an energy that maybe I irradiate, I don't know, but I think it's just the way that the brain is connected, the brain is wired, the way that you emit these frequencies out of your body. So my tip: get away of all this tracer. When you have gathered all data, assimilate them, understood them, and challenge the perception of this data. Like, can you feel what's your heartbeat now? I do. I can say that I'm beeping at 72. I don't need my watch to tell me why I want to get rid of these things. When you are an extreme biohacker, or when you become a biohacker in the point that you know your body so well, it's because I want to avoid addiction. People got addicted to their tracer.
Yeah,
Most of the time. Yeah,
this is so
like you are
true.
from the phone. Yeah,
Addiction, dependence on all these things,
yeah,
and at some way, in some way, it cripples us when we have too much support. That's a concept that actually I would like to expand, and I have a question for you in that
sure.
regard as well. I would like to expand to a lot of different areas. Just before I do that, I wanted to come back to what you mentioned, because we have this placebo effect that is so powerful. You mentioned that Aura Ring that was basically giving fake data and people were responding to the fake data. Unbelievable, but it doesn't surprise me, and it doesn't surprise
Yeah,
a lot of doctors, because placebo is very powerful. We also have the nocebo effect, the opposite, telling people that something is wrong, and then they're going to find a reason. That is
yeah,
the very reason why they wouldn't feel good. So that is something that is very fascinating. And I think the perception of reality is the key, not just the reality itself, but also how we perceive reality, and being able to calibrate that with a good filter. Because we can, I can wear pink glasses and suddenly the world is going to be more pink than somebody else who doesn't have the pink glasses. It's my choice. to have pink glasses of optimism in life, right? And I think that these choices need to be made consciously by people, and do
Correct.
not underestimate the power of having a good filter for the meaning of certain things and for
Right.
the signals that are coming. So I just wanted to touch on this because I think it's so fascinating.
But you know what? That doesn't start if you have zero self awareness. And that's the problem of all the people on this planet, or many of them. Honestly, how many people are capable of staying with themselves? Once again, there is a study, like you put people in a room and you say, you're going to have to stay more than 12 minutes in that room. It's black, it's dark. You can just sit on that chair. There is no table. The first question that comes into mind of these people, do you have my phone? No, you don't need your phone. So 80% of the population left the room before 10 minutes. The rest stayed, and not many stayed more than half an hour. I could stay 2 hours with myself, just learning on how my body is acting, reacting, understanding, perception, without the noise or with the noise or things like that. Do that exercise. It's better than any trackers. It's better than anything. This is self-awareness, and this is an increasing factor for proprioception.
Yes.
Again, this is crucial.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also coming back to the second point is what sometimes the good support system can cripple us, and the lack of support system or the difficulty in life can make us stronger. And I'm going
Right.
somewhere with this because I have a hypothesis that I would like to verify if you have the same mindset about this. So many, and I think it really relates to biohacking, longevity, lifespanning, all of it, is because a lot of people are looking for ways to support the body and the
Mm-hmm.
mind and the spirit from different angles, right? At the same time, we know that if we start using support, let's say my support to get from point A to point B would be getting in my car, right? So if I do it all the time, suddenly I'm not able to go that distance without a car, because why would I
Mm-hmm.
use my legs if I'm not actually using them? So at some point, the support, the benefit and the risks, the ratio switches, right? So I think that in healthcare overall, we are dealing with a major problem, because while the science shows that something supports something, and now somebody is going to take that mechanism of like, okay, that's going to help you calibrate that deficiency, or that's going to help you with X, Y, and Z. Now the problem is, if you do too much of that, you become dependent on it. I'm guilty of drinking, like I love coffee. Coffee also
Yeah.
has caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant. Without coffee in the morning, it takes me a good while, unless I have my exogenous ketones, talking about biohacking, it takes me a good while to get to my, better brain performance. And now I'm thinking about, it's fascinating, because as much as that coffee was helping me, right now the dependence on coffee actually hurts me.
Burden.
So there are two things, right? So one is, how do we manage the biohacks and the tools that are available to us to give us enough support but not too much, and at the same time look on the other side and say, okay, maybe I should actually make something harder on purpose to get stronger, because that's
Mm-hmm.
what working out is, right? If you want
Yeah.
muscle gains or strength gains, it
No
only happens
shortcuts.
if you have to push your body to the limit. So what is your take on it? I see this literally spilling through the whole
Completely.
healthcare system, and people are
Yeah.
confused because the science tells you one thing, and the reality is now you become dependent on your medication, on your crutches,
Everything. Yeah.
all that stuff. Tell
Well,
me
the
your
first thing
point
you,
of view.
yeah, yeah, Mike. The first thing you rely on is your GPS to go from one point A to point B. Forget it and try to get there. You've seen where it is. Try to get there. Your brain is going to be neuroplastic, and you'll remember how many people take a direction to go to a restaurant. And if you remove the GPS from their car, they don't even know how to get there. That's a problem. Honestly, we rely on technology. We just rely on technology for everything. We rely on technology for our bodies and for improvement. remove these things, like by avoiding any shortcuts. That's the thing. So in terms of sport, for example, you got a fantastic example. You want to build muscle, and you want to build muscle to do what type of exercise you want to do. What people are doing first, they're going to look at the supplements. From the supplement, they're going to look at the peptides. From the peptides, they're going to look at the hormones to inject in their body. And if you remove the pre-workout in their game, like they go to the gym every day, but one day you take them and you go like, oh, you're going to go to the gym today, do the same thing that you did yesterday or 2 days ago because you had a rest day, for example, but you're not going to have any pre-workout. What happened? They're not doing it. It's not that their body is not capable of doing it. It's because their mind is just like, I don't have the energy. I need my nitric oxide to be generated faster and things like that. That is BS. I'm sorry. But that's the way we cultivate the performance in our society, where you can understand that your body is actually designed to perform way better than what you think. You can, if you
can say that, because looking at your Instagram, seriously, for those of you who are listening, you won't be able to see what we're going to show on the screen, but what this guy can do is unbelievable. I seriously thought that it's just, some kind of AI photo trick that you're using, and then you find out this is actually reality. So I know you can say that your body can do much more than many people think is capable of.
Yeah. Well, did you know that you have a small muscle behind your posterior bone that will help you to balance your body when you are doing an handstand? No, you didn't know because you never practiced to discover it. But when you discovered that muscle and you put the emphasis of working on it, that muscle will develop by itself, and then your body shape will turn into a different game as well, without using any technologies, anything, just by knowing how your body works. And that's the beauty of the sport I do, calisthenics, is you're not using any weight. You're using your own body weight. So you are forced to, at any moment, to rebalance your own balance. And this is how you discover that, oh, I have another muscle here. I didn't know that this muscle can do so much, but you can work it out.
Yeah, I found that muscle. Even without doing calisthenics, I found it. You know where and how I found it? That same muscle you're talking about. I felt it. And I felt it pretty intensely. I tried when I was in Atlanta. We went with Dr. Bertrand, who you also interviewed, and we tried All-Core 360. And definitely. I went to 0, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we took a ride. It was not easy. My body was shaking. I'm like, Jesus, why am I shaking so much? And then the following day, especially the day after that, I'm like, I didn't know I had a muscle here. And I think that was the muscle you're referring to. Jesus, that was pretty amazing to know how many of these small muscles you have in places that you didn't even expect you have muscles.
And you can develop them.
I'm joking with this, but it was very, very intense, fascinating.
And I like that machine, the All-Core 360. It is true that, this is the thing. We spend our days sitting. We spend our day from sitting to go to the couch, and we don't even spend our days. Like some people, after their meal, they're looking for the pill to avoid a spike in glucose in their blood. 20-minute walk. Well, correct. That is life spanning. A walk is the best thing you can do. And on both effects that you're going to get with your walk is a meditative state. So you do some sort of meditation at the same time. And I push forward on those things like natural behavior and tricks. When I go for a walk, you know what I do most of the time? I go backward. But to challenge my brain, I go backward, eye closed.
That is
And
tough.
yeah, it is. And then because I live in Miami and I'm in front of Brickell Key, on Brickell Key you have a small wall that goes all around the island to make the barrier for the water. So I go on that wall that is like not even 3 feet wide, backward, high close, and I have to stay on it, otherwise I fall in the water.
I don't know how you
And
do it.
yeah, but that is proprioception. That is
Wow.
proprioception. You feel
Do you
your
go
body,
with
you
your
feel the
memory?
weight you
How do you know? Do you feel it with your feet, or just
you f-
memory,
it's actually you
imagination?
feel you feel you visualize everything you do, but you feel like you feel the wind. It's always windy on the ocean, so you feel the wind where it's coming from. That's one that goes on your body that gives you the direction. Then you feel the position of your feet, and if you know that if one feet goes just a bit on the side, you're going to be starting going on that side, so you have to recorrect it to make sure that you keep a straight line when you go. And backward,
Wow.
it's a different story. And I'm going to push further, because on my challenge, here's what I found to get to the optimum state of zenness when I walk that way and meditation. I put 128 bpm music. So the pum 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 pum. Every 2 feet is a pum 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 pum. So I close backward every 2 feet, pum pum pum. Your brain is flushed, completely flushed out. It's the cleanest brain that you can have
Wow.
after being a monk for 1 month under a cave if you want. And I do that every day. Those tricks should be accessible. This is like what I would like to bring the society, is like tricks like that are free. I'm not paying to do that.
I love it, and you know that's one of the things I wanted to ask you. So one thing is, okay, let's say we have that extreme biohacker who has all these different devices, and then they realize that it was probably more intense and actually more stress. Some people can get more stressed by
Of
eh,
course.
feeling the pressure of doing all the things that they need to do to get healthy, that the stress is balancing out the benefits, right? So your recommendation to them, as I'm understanding, is start removing some of them, and then focus on replacing some of them with the things that are very natural that you can do without the support of different devices. Am I understanding it
Correct.
correctly?
100% correct. Like the more you connect with nature, the more you're going to be aligned with your body, and the more you're going to get to that state of enlightenment that everyone is chasing. Like I told you that before, but I'm going to repeat it now live here. I'm at the most high, the utmost state of my enlightenment in life. I've never been so zen. And by matter of fact, my biological age has never been so low. So imagine, I've been a biohacker for over 14 years, keeping my curve, and suddenly, by removing certain biohacks from my life and getting more into nature connection and back to the basic of my proprioception and body knowledge and self-awareness, my body age, instead of keeping up with my natural age, was going the other way. I'm 50% below
It's
my
unbelievable.
biological age. It is some sort of a
Awesome.
record.
Unbelievable. And also seeing what you do, you must be much younger than your ID would otherwise show.
Yeah.
So I'm loving this. You mentioned that these things with nature, and then doing the walk, and other things are the things that don't cost you anything. Let's do a quick exercise of giving people, let's say somebody is listening to this or watching on YouTube, and they want to know what are some of the things that I can do for free. They don't cost me anything. And then maybe give them, three needle movers, things that you found very helpful. And then
Mhm.
low cost, let's call it, affordable level, something that does not require you to, sell your house to, to practice
To get
biohacking,
into biohacking.
right? And then the super high level, but actually worth considering for people who have the income to do it, right? Because I
Yeah,
don't want to discount all the expensive biohacks. I
of course
think there
not.
is room for it. At the same time, I would like people to know, let's say 3 bullet points. If you were to choose 3 for the free, and then 3 for the affordable level, and then 3 that are like super high level, inaccessible to most, but still worth considering.
Okay, so 3 that are free. Sunrise is number 1. Walking is number 2. Meditation, I'm going to keep it because it's not accessible to everyone. But I think
Why not? Why is it not
well, it's
accessible
because
to
many
everyone?
people don't have the capacity of meditating right away. They need training and stuff like that. So I would put it in the second category. With the help
Okay.
of certain accessory, you can get to meditation. And on the
Okay.
first category, that is free. So of course, hydration is something. But I think, like we said, sunrise, we said walking. And I think that one of the underrated factor that is extreme for longevity and it's great for benefit, it's movement. Some people just don't move. They forget, like, how many people put their hands like that? I never see anybody doing that. Do it when you have free time. Just do this. You're going to see the difference in 3, 4, 5 weeks. You're going to see the difference in your shoulders.
What
So
type of movement? So walking and movement are in the same category for a lot of people. So if somebody
no,
is listening, what is
yeah,
the difference
yeah.
between your definition of movement versus walking?
Okay, movement is like walking is movement which would trigger more an overall reaction of your body in terms of blood flow and muscle and everything. I was more trying to define my movement by stretching. Why, it's not getting older that makes you getting stiffer. It's because you get stiffer that you get older. It's the reverse.
Wow, that's the
Yeah,
first time I've ever heard
yeah,
anybody say this, and I need your
yeah.
help. I'm
Okay.
stiff. Okay. So I'm going to use the podcast to ask you my hamstrings specifically, right?
Okay.
They're getting so stiff. And I know that, it's probably because I'm sitting down and not stretching enough. I'm looking for shortcuts. I myself also am looking for shortcuts. Okay. So instead of going the hard way and, just step by step or like, incrementally getting better, I want to ask the expert that I know in front of me, tell me if there is a shortcut, and if yes, what would you do to stretch hamstrings? What I'm thinking about is using heat, for example, stretching
Yeah.
in the heat,
In the
and
heat,
then
it's the
the
best.
roller. That's what I heard about, but I never practiced it. So, to be efficient
Yeah.
with my time, I want to practice the best shortcuts that you recommend.
Well, then, you know what? Do some simple exercise for shoulder. Depends if it's like a bursitis or if it's the rotators. But you can do simple exercise on a daily base. When you have nothing to do, you could move your shoulder like that a few times a day. And if you want to optimize that trick, put your infrared lamp on the side, leave it working during, like, you're doing this podcast. You could have the infrared light. Of course you're going to show a red face, but let's say you're not on a podcast but you're working on your computer. Put the infrared light and use it and do your movement regularly. People forget to move. It's the thing, and that's why they're getting older. It's because of that they stop moving. If we were to educate our people that are 60 and over, just to every morning you get out of the bed, instead of like try to bend over and put your hands down, do this 2 3 times. If you need the help of a chair at the beginning because you're not used to the motion, do that. But move. Those are movement as I was defining them. The movement of walking is accessible to many others, but you want to improve your walking, walk and put your hands like that
Mm-hmm. So
once in a
for
while. Yeah.
hamstrings specifically, you would recommend stretching them and also using both the heat and the near
Infrared.
infrared or
Yeah.
infrared light
Yeah.
while stretching. And I
Correct.
have
Yeah.
my near infrared
Yeah.
lamp here, so I can use that easily.
Yeah, you should
That's good.
definitely do that. Don't go to the extreme of going to PRP or stem cell. I don't think you need that. Like it's part of life. You know, Mike, I've never injured myself in my sport
Wow.
because I'm stretching all the time, and it's extreme on the movement I
So I
do. Like
saw.
people, you
It's,
never, yeah, never
sometimes you lift
have
two
anything
people
over your
on
shoulder.
your
Yeah.
head. You lift two people. I saw that on Instagram. Unbelievable. So yeah.
Yeah.
So when I'm nodding, I'm like, wow. You know?
That you can do it. Yeah.
Very,
So
very,
two
very
that
cool.
are, yeah, and so to go back to your question of three that are a bit more demanding,
So
still,
affordable, right? So
yeah,
the
affordable or yeah, still,
free sunrise, walking, stretching
mhm,
would
yeah,
be the,
the
the the
best,
top three. Okay, got it.
the
Now
best.
the affordable category. It requires a little bit
Yeah,
of money, but nothing crazy.
yeah, yeah. Um, does shower require money? Maybe if you pay
I
the
would put it in
water
the free category. Of
in the
course, I mean we
free.
need we need
Yeah.
we need. I mean we need to pay for water bill, but
Oh yeah.
I would say that if something is let's say free or very affordable to like most
Affordable.
people. So now the
Well,
affordable ones that require you to invest a little bit in some kind of a biohack. What would you recommend?
well, I think that one of the best biohack that is out there today is magnesium as a supplement. Just because
Which form?
I would go on liposomal form and magnesium 3 on 8, the best for your night sleep. Um, you can go on sublingual. Sublingual works very well as well. I'm actually testing some product from England these days that are pretty impressive. So supplements require a bit of money, but you're going to get so much return on investment because your sleep is going to be so well improved. On the second category, investing a bit on trying to improve your meditation, you're probably going to need some sort of app if you cannot afford the brain tap right away. But you can use an app, Mindspace or others, that will help you to meditate. Is one of the best trick ever for longevity and for everything. Um, the third one, I would definitely invest in a bottle that generates hydrogen water, or I would go straight to deuterium depleted water as well. There's a lot of benefits that are proven by science, but one or the other are fantastic tool. We're talking about less than $100. Some bottles are like more expensive, but you can buy the pills for hydrogen and put it in your water. It gets to the same level. Those tricks are quite cool and really a game changer in lives.
Perfect. And I want
Yeah.
everybody listening or watching to pay attention because none of these three, even like you mentioned, so liposomal magnesium, that's
Magnesium.
not expensive at all. Getting a meditation app to support that meditation process, it can be nearly free, or even like you mentioned, if somebody cannot afford a brain tap, even brain tap is still very affordable for most
Yeah,
people because you can reuse it, right? So that's something
correct.
that
Yeah.
because you reuse it, the per session price is
Yeah.
extremely small and it lasts you for a long time. So with or without the equipment or the headset, there is the BrainTap app, there is the Mindspace app, and other apps that support the meditation process, and also hydrogen water, deuterium depleted water that you mentioned. I think that a lot of people who are listening to this may not realize that these seemingly small things can actually move the needle.
Crazy. Let me just go back to the water and lemon and salt in
Hmm.
the morning. I invite everyone that is listening to do this test for 7 days in a row. The first thing you do in the morning when you wake up, you take a glass of water that is about I would say 200 ml minimum, a quarter of a liter. You put a bit of salt and just a bit of lemon juice, and you drink that. The first thing that you do in your day, you drink that for 7 days. I'll guarantee you that efficiency of your brain coming back, brain fog out, your energy is restored, bloating is out of your world. Just 7 days of doing that is a crucial game changer, and it's almost free. So it's in between all
Yeah,
these things. Those
it's
simple tricks are just like neglected.
yeah. I'm putting that as the fourth one under free because it's essentially almost pretty much free. Water,
Yeah,
lemon, salt, right?
yeah,
By salt, I know that you mean probably a higher quality salt, so either a Celtic salt or even
correct.
like Himalayan salt
Yeah,
or uh,
Himalayan salt are like great. That's what I use. I like that. Yeah.
or some other companies, real salt that I heard is
Mhm.
pretty good. There's a lot of different
But
variations
even
of
on a
salt.
grocery, you can buy, like, yeah, you have some salt from the desert too that are very
Hmm.
cool. But uh, you can buy sea salt from, I think it was made in Israel or some things like that, and that salt is amazing because of the
Hmm.
components
Yes,
inside of
the
it.
reason why I'm bringing this up, that it does not mean any salt, even though like there was this one Dr. Batman Gilich, who wrote the book Your Body's Many Cries for Water or something like that. He was talking about that even table salt, he's not recommending table salt, but he says even table salt has some benefits because it helps us hydrate and it helps us
Yeah.
energize the body properly and communicate between cells. But I wanted people to know, because for you and me this is obvious, that you don't mean like put table salt in your water, but
Yeah.
ideally better quality salt.
Yeah, better
um,
quality. Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
have the fourth one under the free category. Now
Hmm.
we have the liposomal magnesium. We have the meditation apps slash support equipment like BrainTap, and we have the hydrogen water under one of the affordable ones that move the needle. So now let's get to the ones that are reserved for people who are able to
Have
afford it, right?
to afford it. Yeah. Well, I
What
think
would you
you need
recommend?
yeah. So if you don't leave, you could maybe save it, but infrared lamps are definitely something that you should consider buying as one of
Do,
your
do you
first
mean
gadget.
infrared, like infrared saunas, or near infrared light, or do you
Oh,
distinguish
if you want to
between these two?
go up to that price tag, infrared sauna would be the best, but you have to have the space. I'm just thinking about people living in an apartment and not capable of
You
having
know,
the space to put a sauna.
I bought a dome sauna
Oh
because we
yeah,
wanted to have a bigger one. But actually, that dome sauna, that's where a lot of research for that company was made on that specific sauna. And I'm like, hey, it seemed it was endorsed by a lot of biohackers, so we bought it. We like it, and space wise, it's not that terrible as long as you have the space next to your bed. But I was curious. The reason why I asked you is because a lot of doctors give a very clear distinction of benefits between near infrared and infrared. So I just wanted to ask you if you have a preference when you say infrared. Do you mean including near infrared, or you
well, yeah,
mean
I
just
would,
one?
honestly, if I had to choose, I would definitely go for the full spectrum infrared, near infrared, because one doesn't go without the other. You need the benefit of both. And
Gotcha.
there is a company that was clever enough to make actually some sort of program. When you get into the sauna, it starts by near infrared, and he ramps up to infrared, and he stays there, and then he goes down at the end of the cycle. So it's the best, but it comes with a price tag for sure. If you can afford it, if you have the space, sauna, a cold plunge is a necessity.
Cold
Yeah,
plunge.
you know that
Jesus, yeah.
I'm a big fan of cold plunges. It's, well, cold shower is
I
great.
understand.
Yeah.
I still resist, but I understand.
Oh yeah, I stay 45 minutes.
Oh
So,
my goodness, this is
yeah,
crazy. But you are a
yeah,
little good crazy, So that
yeah,
is
yeah,
that is
kind of.
I know the benefits are undeniable.
Mm.
It's just something that I'm actively resisting. Maybe I'll
Well,
be ready. I'm not ready
that's
yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, if you're resisting, you're not gonna make it, but you have to try. I remember bringing one of my friend that was exactly like you, and he goes like, "Never, I would never." And I go like, "Okay, just put your feet in." And then
Yeah,
he go,
that
"Oh,
that
no,
I
no,
can
no, no,
do.
no, no." Yeah, and then he goes like, "No, no, 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 no." And I go like, "Talk to me, just talk to me." And then he was talking to me, and he was moving inside, and he stayed like 30 seconds, but he stayed. He was his first. Now he's
Interesting.
doing
So maybe
cold
it's
plunges.
literally dipping your toes first, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's
Well,
a saying, but
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
literally that's how I should start. I remember that when I was taking walks here, when the weather was a little bit nicer, but it was still very cold water in this stream. I would just take off my socks and I would just put the
Yeah,
feet in the
it's
water,
beautiful.
and I felt amazing because you feel the nature and it's a meditative moment. And at the same time, even though I really don't like cold, feet was fine for me. So I know
Yeah,
I can do that.
but feet is important because we have thermoreceptors on feet and hands and cheeks. So you could put your hands into cold water and your feet and feel like your body would drop down its temperature. It's almost the same way that you were if you were immersed into cold water. It's a trick that I've been using during summers when I was training, when my body was overeating during my workout. I was using ice pad to cool down. So on my hands, on my feet, and
Mm,
on my cheeks. And in like
interesting.
10 minutes, I was back to normal temperature so I could perform longer. Yeah. So
Interesting. So give me some more of the
the high
extreme
hand,
biohacks,
yeah.
high end. Even if it's not really affordable, I really would like to know what's working so we can work towards it.
Oh,
Especially that we may
yeah.
be able to bring it to a more affordable level in the future.
I guess my big hope is like having hyperbaric chambers,
Okay.
brought to access to more people because there's serious benefits. It's so expensive and it's really not accessible for now. But the benefit of hyperbaric chamber, oxygen therapy in general, or ozone therapy as well, are like um, huge. And one day we'll see, it's
Yeah.
going to come, or maybe more center longevity center will open and give access to people for a fraction of the price so they can benefit it. Because it's true, why would you spend $100,000 if you want to use it once a week, and if you can get it for like $10 one day,
Hmm.
then yeah, fine. So sauna, the cold plunge, the hyperbaric chamber. If I had to had another one, I would definitely go for something for brain optimization. I think that
How do you mean?
I became a biohacker because I was obsessed by the functionality of the brain. So I was part of you remember that company Halo Neuro?
Mm-mm.
So they had an headset that looked like a headset for music, but under the top you had small pin, and it was for transcranial direct stimulation. So you were sending for 20 minutes or 16 minutes. You were sending a small electrical current into your brain spheres and putting your brain in a state of neuroplasticity. You were literally able to learn really faster. But
Wow.
so I was part of that. Dave Asprey was on that thing too at the beginning, and I remember
Maybe
learning
that's why
faster.
both of you are growing so fast. You have the unfair competitive advantage. Yeah, I need to get access to that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I think I'm doing better in terms of aging.
You know,
He's gonna be on my podcast next week, so I better be nice with him.
he's awesome.
But
You know
yeah,
the fact what he's doing to connect people,
yeah,
it's unbelievable because the collective
true.
energy here and how many
Yeah,
years he can shed off people's lives because of bringing all the people together. I just have
true.
a
And
lot of
yeah,
respect.
me too. He brought this industry to the level that it is today. So big respect. I agree 100%. So I'm a big fan of brain stimulation. So that Halo Neuro was meant to make people learn faster piano or reading or things like that. But me, my obsession was sports. So I was trying to see if I could learn movement in sport faster by using it. And it worked. Literally, it worked. My performances were like outstanding. They were like, I was accelerating the process of that. So from the first Halo Neuro, my second tool became a brain tap. My third tool became a neurovisor. My other tool is Neuronic. And now you have Serotrive using more and more like, so go back in time. One is transcranial direct stimulation. The second is light and sound and frequencies. The third one is still light and sound, but no binaural beats, just like sounds in different frequencies. And the last one, the two last one, are using infrared stimulation. And what I love into the infrared stimulation today, I spoke to Patrick Porter about it, that he could definitely think about that. And there are studies and studies plumbing the everyday news that the infrared stimulation on the brain has a serious impact on the neurological aspect of it. And I think the future, and it takes just me on that, okay? The future of brain stimulation and brain optimization is going to be light, sound, infrared, and ECG for the interpretation, using AI and machine learning to adapt the signal at the same time. If someone comes with that, yeah.
Very good. It would be fantastic if Dr. Porter would be able to implement another technology in the device. I would love that. Wanted to ask you something that is very important as a challenge that we all have when we hear about all these amazing biohacks, right? And that is because there's a lot of crap on the market. There's a lot of, right? So much. And they all, for somebody who doesn't have the connections and ways to verify, they all look the same. They sound the same. They're all the next big thing that is supposed to heal all the diseases. And I think this is a blessing and a curse at the same time, because people get confused. And just like with Polish Your Life, we are bringing certification, that for providers, for facilities, for certain things that we recommend. I don't want to recommend just anything, but things that our network confirms that this is legit, right? I want people to know, especially doctors in our network, to know what you do in that area, because you also have a way to certify.
We have the lifespan certified. Yeah, correct. The community, the biohacker community came to us during actually a Dave Asprey show. Came to us and they said, like, listen, guys, you are with Biohackers Magazine, the center of information, unbiased, and you always provide the right note or music into this industry. You should do something. We're fed up about seeing like someone that comes to us and say like, oh, this chocolate bar is a biohack, and trying to get into the movement, the business of biohacking by putting a name on it, like the multivitamin just did on longevity. Now they changed the Centrum for adults to Centrum for longevity, which is the same components.
But it makes a big when you consider psychoneuroimmunology and how your brain can make it function differently, they're probably doing us a service.
Yeah. So that's it. So we are here. Yeah, it is crazy. But as Biohackers Magazine, from the legacy of what we created, we said, we're going to clean up this freaking mess. And how do we clean up the mess? We have a team of scientists and a cohort of testers, and we take products. First, we look at the science behind it. If it's paid science, bullshit science, or whatsoever, you don't go to step 2. You reject it.
Who paid for it and who has conflict of interest there?
Correct. Yeah. If your science is really double-blinded and peer reviewed and whatsoever and real science, we consider it. We start disseminating the information to our cohort of scientists and testers. We ask them for real feedback. And from their real feedback, if the validation validates what the research said, we give the lifespan certified stamp. And then when people come to lifespanning and say, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to buy, I need help, well, here it is. You don't need help. Just go with the product we've selected. They're tested, they're proven, they're real, they're no bullshit. And sorry for the other, but you're going to be out soon. That is it.
And the market will verify it eventually. But the problem that I see, trying to really move the needle for people who really need help are the most vulnerable people. And I was one of them together with Monica, right? So we were trying to look for Monica's, different things that can move the needle for Monica's health. And when you have a situation where you will literally try almost anything that gives you the hope for better results, I think it's so wrong that many of these things are being pushed towards you and somebody can grab the wrong thing. But it's not just a mistake that you make and even the money that you spend. It can put you back in your recovery journey years, and sometimes it can literally hurt you. So I think what you're doing is the extension of the concept that I had in my head for a long time, and I'm so happy that we have the scientists to also support us with that process, because our certification does not currently have that process, and maybe we can somehow team up that I will be able to send them your way.
That's the goal. That's what we want to do. We need to team up on that and extend your certification into our system and our certification into your system. Definitely.
It's beautiful, so powerful, because people need it. And I feel on one hand extremely optimistic because healthcare is going to the right place. I think that the future looks very bright. And I'm one of these people who chooses to have pink glasses, metaphorically speaking. But I would probably wear pink glasses, literally. Why not, right? Just to prove the point. But it's our choices that determine how we see the reality around us, and then it's our choice to to attach a meaning, like Tony Robbins says, to attach a meaning to something as a positive or a negative one. And even with a good filter, we still need shortcuts and support. And that's why I appreciate you so much, because you have so many resources that we'll be able to bring to our doctors, to our practitioners, to our community of integrative healthcare,
and vice versa. You have so much in your panel of supporters and network that we are lacking in our community, because we need more access to doctors, because they need to be listened as well. Way more in this community. We neglect, this is the problem with the biohacking. They've rejected completely the healthcare system and what is behind the healthcare system, the doctors. Like, you're a doctor, I'm not listening to you. That is wrong. That is wrong. Yeah. I want to put that back on track.
The whole definition, or the whole, concept of alternative medicine, I don't like it, because it's combative. It's either or. Anytime that I hear that somebody says, well, you can do the biohacking and the alternative route versus the conventional medicine route, yes, I know which side I'm leaning. Okay, I'm not going to reveal the secret here, but I have my own preference. At the same time, it's all about integrating these two, because it's not one versus the other. And that's why we say we promote integrative healthcare. It helped our family quite a bit. We are a different family right now, because a diagnosis for one person is really a problem for the whole family, if you have people who care for each other and care about each other. And also the reverse of this is true, that a remarkable recovery success story that we appreciate every day. Nothing is guaranteed in life, we know, but that appreciation and gratitude spills over to the whole family, and we all appreciate life and health even more. And I think this is very much necessary to be accessible to a lot of people. And that's where you come in. your mission, the team of people. You know, I did the intro that I didn't want to take forever, but the list of your accomplishments as a visionary entrepreneur, this list is like almost endless, you know? So I will let people research you a little bit more. Where can people find you?
Well, best way to find about me is jeanfallacara.com. My name, my first name, last name.com. Cyborggainz on Instagram. But from jeanfallacara.com, you find actually a link to Biohackers magazine, a link to my LinkedIn, a link to Lifespanning, a link to Lifespan Certified, a link to my Facebook, my Instagram. So it's the central point where you want to know, well, if it's interesting enough, who I am, you go to my website. If you are not interested, you go to my website, you scroll down all the way, and you're going to have those icons and the link, and even to my podcast where you are my guest. Coming
and
up.
It's No BS, No Plan B podcast, right?
Correct.
No Plan B podcast.
Yeah.
I love that. This is so good. Big thank you for your time, for your attention, for your energy that you're bringing to us that other people can experience as well. I really appreciate you and what you do. I mean it. I think it's going to be a lot of value that our listeners and viewers will get from this conversation and the upcoming ones in the future. I would like all of you who are listening to the podcast and also the people who are watching, connect with Jean Fallacara. We'll put everything in the description, so you will have the links. You will be able to easily find him. When you have something that is serious, connect with him with different projects. Everybody, literally every doctor that we connected him with gave me extremely positive feedback, because this is no BS. There's no plan B. Plan A.
There is no plan B.
Plan A, I know what plan A is.
That's what you have to, yeah.
Plan A is to make human longevity accessible to everyone, right? Human longevity, a mainstream reality. That's how we started. That's how we finish. Big thank you, man.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.